Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm a little late with this, and it's literally took me 3 times to film this because I suck. I literally filmed this whole video and then I noticed that I had a stain on my shirt and I'm like, gee, thanks, love that for me. And the video was really long, so at least I get to do it over and we can try to make it a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna be talking about 11 books today, which is the most books that I've ever read in a month, and I am really happy and excited for myself. And yeah, seeing as this video is gonna be long enough as it is, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into it. The first book that I'm going to be talking about is actually a Christmas book. Don't ask me why I read a Christmas book in August. I am stupid and I wanted some Christmas in August, apparently. So I read Christmas Letters by Debbie Macomber, and I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars, but I'm actually going to bump it down to a 1 out of 5 stars just because this book was so cheesy. And yeah, I don't know why I gave it 2 stars because this book was terrible. Yeah. And on Goodreads it has like a 4 out of 5 star rating, and I'm like, how? But you know, whatever. Anyways, it was a cheesy Christmas book, a cheesy romance book, and yeah, I didn't like it at all. 1 out of 5 star. That's all I gotta say about it. Moving on to the next book. Second book that I read was pretty good. I read Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. This was the first book that I ever read by Karen, and I liked it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. The only thing that really dragged me in, well, not the only thing, there was a couple things that dragged me in, but the main thing that dragged me in was the Halloween theme park that they have in this town. And it's like, I don't know, that's just really cool to me. And then the main character, and she was really into true crime, and so like it was like, it's a YA novel, so it was like a teenager that's really into true crime trying to figure out a mystery in their own town, and so that was a really cool aspect to the book. The only thing that I complained about was how the book kept going back and forth, like it had to explain every single little thing that it had already explained, like you weren't keeping up yourself. That's the only thing that I complained about, but other than that, it was a pretty solid YA mystery. I recommend it. The next book that I read was another book by Riley Sager. Now, I read his first book, which is Final Girls, I think 2 years ago, and I really liked that book. I really enjoyed it. So this is his brand new book, and it's called Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. This was really cool. It was based in New York, and it was about this woman, and she goes to apartment sit in this hotel, and it's like a really famous hotel, and there's like a bunch of like rich people that live there. And basically she's apartment sitting and she's getting paid. I think at the end of her 3-month contract it was like $12,000 that she was supposed to get, and so that was like her reason for going and staying there. And come to find out, there's like a bunch of murders happening and a bunch of creepy stuff with, you know, the rich people. And yeah, it was a pretty good mystery. Some things I feel like were a little rushed, but that's fine. Yeah, I still liked Final Girls a little bit more, but this was a pretty solid mystery thriller, and I recommend. So I am in a book club. It is Peter Maughan's book club, and this entire year is true crime, and I've been kind of on and off with it just because a lot of the books that they're reading in the book club I've already read, because some of them are like mainstays of true crime, like very popular true crime books that I've already read, like Helter Skelter, Columbine, stuff like that. But this book I had never read before because it is brand new, and it has a very long title, so stick with me. It is called American Predator: The Hunt for the Most Meticulous Killer of the 21st Century by Maureen Callahan. And I had never heard of this serial killer, actually. I don't know how, because I look up stuff and it's like, how did you not know this? But his name was Israel Keyes, and he was a serial killer that killed not just in like one town or one state. He went all across the country. I think he killed in like Virginia, Alaska, Texas, New York, I think, like all across the country. And he hid these kill kits all across the country, and then he would bury them or hide them in like a very rural, like wooded area. And then he would come back either like a few months later or like 2 years later, and then he would commit a crime, and then he would get rid of it or hide the kill kit again, which is very weird to me. And then like in the kill kit, he would have like guns, knives, gloves, chemicals, ties, rope, like a bunch of stuff to like commit a crime. And then like, what? And we'd hide them all across the country. He killed people all across the country and like robbed banks across the country and stuff. It's wild, wild book. I highly recommend, if you're into true crime, to read this one. It is brand new, and yeah, it was pretty good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason I knocked off a star was because about halfway through the book they switch it to not only being like a written story but like an interview type, and I didn't really enjoy that, so I just bumped off a star. But overall, it was a very good true crime book, and I highly recommend it. Now, moving on to the mysteries, thrillers. I mean, all of these are basically mystery thrillers. That's all really all I read. Yeah. So, this is actually a new book as well. I feel like a lot of the books that I read in August were brand new books, which I'm really proud of myself for, because usually I wait like a couple of months to a year to actually pick up newer books, unless like I'm really excited for them, just because I'd like to see like reviews and stuff before I go ahead and pick up a book, not just like first reviews or anything. And so yeah, I just like to wait a while. But August, I was like, apparently screw that, I'm just gonna read whatever. And yeah, I think I read like 4 or 5 brand new books, so pat myself on the back. Really proud of myself for that. So the next one is a new one as well, like I said, and it was called The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. It was really good. It's like a modernized ghost story. There's like a smart house, ghost, creepy kids, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. The book starts off and it is this nanny, and she's in prison for killing a child, and she's like writing letters to her lawyer and explaining her story. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it. Actually, I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Correct myself. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. The end shocked me. The next one was also a mystery thriller. Shocking, I know. And it was called The Last House Guest by Megan Miranda. This book was not the best. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, and I feel like the last book that I read by her, I read at the beginning of this year, and I also gave it 3 out of 5 stars. And these are just basically, like, I feel like her books are basic mysteries. Like, there's nothing that throws you over the top. Like, it's not mind-blowing, but they're okay. It was a very easy read. I felt like my mind kind of drifted a little bit, so you don't have to pay attention to like every little detail, because it all gets explained in the end. And it's not like anything shocking or overly ambitious. It's just like you can figure it out for yourself pretty much by reading it. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna read anything else by her, at least for a while, just because the 2 books that I have read by her were just like okay. So yeah, I just like to read thrillers that really shock me, and you know it's the point of a thriller, to shock you, so to thrill you. And these books just, the ones that I have read just didn't thrill me as much. So anyways, yeah, I guess I would recommend it. I'm losing my voice. I guess I would recommend it for like an easy beach read, I guess, because it is based on a beach. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. The next book I had a little more luck with, and it was also a mystery, and it was called The Night Olivia Fell by Christina McDonald. I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. This book was very emotional and very heavy. So if you don't want to read very heavy subject matter, then I wouldn't recommend this book. But if you're okay with it, then it's fine. It's fine. I really enjoyed this book. It's basically about this mother and her daughter, and the daughter falls into a coma, and the book is the mom trying to figure out why. And it basically goes back and forth between the mom and the present, trying to figure out what happened to her daughter, and then the daughter in the past leading up to her coma, and so you figure out what happened that way. And I really enjoyed this book. I did figure out the ending before it happened, but the amount of emotion in this book was fantastic, so that's what threw me over the edge with it. Yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. Yeah. Moving on to the next book that I read. I was actually shocked that I didn't like this book as much as I did, and that is because it was Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris, which is the second book in his Hannibal Lecter series. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and I didn't give it higher just because I feel like it didn't shock me as much, which obviously because I've already watched the movie, so like I knew what was gonna happen. So I feel like that's what bumped it down for me, just because I already knew what was gonna happen, which I feel like shouldn't change my outlook on the book, but it did. Sadly. I still really enjoyed the book, and if you haven't watched the movie, I feel like you would enjoy this book even more. I still really liked it. I just feel like, me personally, I like the Will and Hannibal relationship more than I like the Clarice and Hannibal relationship. I just didn't like it as much as I did Red Dragon. I really loved Red Dragon. And I really love the Hannibal TV series that is all about Will and Hannibal's relationship. And yeah. The next book that I read was actually a book that I picked up from the library, which was very weird for me because I haven't been to the library in like 2 or 3 years, and I actually couldn't check out any books at the library. My fiance had to get them for me because apparently I owe like $25 to the library for late fees, which I didn't know about. So my fiance had to check them out for me. Anyways, yeah, so this was the first book that I actually picked up off the shelf, and the only reason I picked it up was because of the cover, because it freaking shocked me. The book was called Horrorstör by Grady Hendrix, and if you look at the cover, it looks like a magazine for like an IKEA store. And so like I was like very confused because I literally thought it was a magazine, and then I picked it up and I saw that it was an actual book, and I was like, this is interesting. When I began to read it, I found out that it's a ghost story. So it's a haunted IKEA-esque store, and the book is, the format of the book is literally like a magazine or like a handbook. And like each chapter has a different piece of furniture, and then in that chapter it like interweaves that piece of furniture into the chapter, like into the story, which was really cool. Overall, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars just because the book format I loved, the plot of the story I loved, but the horror aspects of it was kind of cheesy. And some of the writing was kind of cheesy, but I did give it 3 out of 5 stars, so I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it just because this book was very original. And so yeah. The next book that I got from the library has been on my list for a while now, and it was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. I didn't think I was gonna like this book as much as I did. I knew I was gonna like it just because of like the reviews that I had seen and stuff, but I didn't think I was gonna like it as much just because the main character, Eliza, her whole entire thing is she writes a webcomic online, and that's like her secret, because nobody knows about it except for her. And her family knows about it, but they don't really know the extent to which it goes. And so I just didn't think I was gonna like it because I don't really like webcomics that much, so I wasn't really interested in that aspect of it. But then once I began reading it, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And the character of Eliza I relate to so much, because I do hold a lot of anxiety and stuff, and I live my life through the internet and through books and through movies and TV shows and stuff like that, and so does she. And so that aspect of it really hit my heart. And then her relationship with Wallace was really endearing too, and I really liked that. I was literally like smiling to myself about some parts and some like dialogue that was happening in the book, which usually doesn't happen in YA books for me because I usually think it's like very cheesy because it's teenagers. But this I feel like was very real, and yeah, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it yet. I know a lot of people have, but if you haven't read it, I recommend picking it up. It's very good. And then the last book that I'm going to be talking about, I'm throwing this in to August because I read it throughout the end of August, but I finished it on September 1st at like 12 in the morning. It had literally just past midnight when I finished it. So I'm throwing it into August because if I had read it tiny bit faster, I would have finished it in August. You don't have to count it as August, you can count it as September, but I'm counting it as August, okay? So the title of the book is The Swallows by Lisa Lutz, and I know that I have some of her other books on my TBR, like The Passenger and some of the Spellman books. I saw The Swallows was coming out, and then I put it on my TBR, and then 2 days later I went to the library and my library had it, and I was shocked because it literally just came out at the beginning of August. And so yeah, but this book was fantastic. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was basically, well, it's basically like a Me Too movement before Me Too became a thing. It's based in 2009, so 10 years ago, and it is about this boarding school, and this new teacher comes and she learns all about like this underlying thing at the school, and it is basically like a Skull and Bones-esque club. And it is all the guys in the school. They participate in this website called The Dark Room, and it is basically where all of the guys in the school, they go and they post about the girls at the school, and they post very inappropriate things about, like, you know, their bodies and sexual acts and stuff like that. And it's just very disturbing, and yeah, it's just like an underlying thing at the school that everyone knows about pretty much, but no one ever talks about it, and it's just very like taboo, I guess. But I really enjoyed it because there's like this girl revolution at the school because a lot of girls know about it, but then they like band together and they basically start a war with the guys. And it's really cool. There's also this other aspect of the book that is like really creepy. The guys basically judge the girls on their blowjobs, and at the end of the school year they crown one of the girls for the best blowjob. But the girls don't know about it because it's all in secrets. And yeah, it's very weird. The only thing that I have to complain about this book is that I feel like the ending was a little bit rushed. But overall, this is a really good book, and if you believe in female empowerment, then I would recommend reading this book. So that is the end of my August wrap-up. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, hopefully next month I read more books, although I don't think I will because it's literally the 8th and I've read 2. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get that many books. At least not 11. We're not gonna read 11 books in September, sadly. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave your comments down below of what you read in August. And please tell me all the books that you're excited to read in September, in October, in, like, you know, spooky season. I will be making a video soon about all the books that I recommend to read during, you know, fall. And yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to see more videos from me, and I will see you in the next one, which hopefully won't be another month. Thanks for watching, as always. Bye.